Well, let's take a look, shall we? It's 18 minutes, actually, quite a long one. ISC Alpha 324.2, the Zeus and MFDs. I know that the MFD changes have made it into this ISC, and they're coming with 324.2 apparently, and the Zeus. So yeah, let's jump in then.
Introduced at last year's CitizenCon, the RSI Zeus is steadily working its way through the ship pipeline to its intended release. And on this week's show, we'll take a look at 2 of its variants, as well as the new MFD rework that you've seen glimpses of here and there. It's a multifunctional show. Let's get to it.
Shut up, Dilligo. Oh, did he just go in through a ladder? It's kind of already looking quite good there. Yeah, it does look pretty good.
The RSI Zeus Mark II is a reimagining of the original RSI Zeus. The Zeus was the first mass-made human exploration ship that was capable of doing quantum travel.
Yeah, so it's old.
We didn't want to just make the Zeus again. We wanted to kind of pay homage to what made the Zeus important, what made it iconic back then. We wanted to kind of give that an update and kind of bring it up to
And that's why it has that modern feel and look about it.
Sure
like I said, guys, see, I'm not talking shit. I'm not talking shit.
It's RSI style, but we feel it's almost a improvement upon the style. It's sort of an evolution of the style. And so players will appreciate the consistency with other RSI ships, but you can see the technological advancement of RSI.
I've got to blur that now on the video.
You may remember the Zeus from our episode in Jump Points a few weeks ago on Inside Star Citizen.
It was very good.
It was very good, Jared tells me. The Zeuses are a great stepping stone ship. So you've got your starter ship originally, you've dipped your toes in a few gameplay loops, and you just want to be able to do a bit more. The Zeuses allow you to do that with some friends.
So yeah, it supports up to 3 crew members, but you can fly it yourself if you want. And if you've got a buddy, they can man the turrets.
The Zeuses, for me, are probably some of the best looking ships we've ever produced for Star Citizen. I think they really set a new visual standard in...
Madness! They're not the best looking ships you've ever produced. The Hornet exists. So they're planning that this is going to be a stepping stone ship. What are some good examples of other stepping stone ships? It's the Cutlass. It's I would say the Avenger. To me, this doesn't sound like a stepping stone ship to me, right? I mean, I would say this is beyond stepping stone. This is, I know what career I want in the game, and I'm going to get a Zeus to do it. That's what I would call this. Not so much a stepping stone ship, but maybe they have a different interpretation of what a stepping stone ship is.
Both their shape and style.
No way, style.
So when we release the Zeus, it comes with both the ES and the CL both together in the same patch. The ES is the exploration-focused variant of the Zeus, so it has a modest-sized cargo bay, larger hydrogen and quantum fuel tanks, a larger radar, and a more spacious living area. The CL, the cargo version, maximizes its cargo capacity. It does that by shunting the sort of central bulkhead towards the front of the ship, so that increases the cargo capacity from 32 to 128 SCU at the expense of just really cramming in the living quarters to be much more compact.
120 SCU.
The exterior of the Zeus ES has got that very kind of iconic RSI arrowhead shape.
We tried to stick to what was like the homage that the concept made of the first Zeus.
It keeps the kind of central fuselage. You've got this big kind of central mass with these lovely kind of quite fast and aggressive looking wings.
Yeah.
And they kind of just help to make it feel quite aggressive and quite sharp, which I think builds on what RSI as a brand are kind of really about.
The big details on the flat surfaces, the mix of materials, I think is very well balanced.
I'm still a massive fan of the underside. Undersides of our ships sometimes get a little bit underlooked or overlooked. But I think the underside, the belly, originally the plan was for it to be kind of completely smooth and completely all one surface, but as we started to work it up, the artists that were working on it were kind of like, oh yeah, can we add a little bit of recesses, can we add a little bit of relief into this shape just to kind of helped build on the believability, and I think it was a real success.
So weaponry-wise, across all of them, the pilot has access to twin.
It's a cool-looking ship. Yeah, I mean, it does look cooler in-game than what I saw of the concepts. It looks better in-game. And this happens often with me. I'm often not very interested in the concepts until I see the ship in-game. It usually changes my mind once it's in-game. I don't fall in love with concepts, and you guys know I don't care about concepts for the most part anyway. But price was 150. It was 150 for the Zeus, for the CL150. Okay, so for the CL150, so the price difference between exploration and cargo variants are usually quite high. If you compare something like the Aquila, I think isn't the Taurus $180 and the Aquila is like $220, $240. Well, I don't know what the ES was for the Zeus or any of those. I must admit, I was very out of the loop when the Zeus was being sold and the concept came around because, like I said, I wasn't really interested.
Twin size 4 guns.
Enemy down.
And the side seats have access to the remote turrets.
Yeah. So hold on, where were the remote turrets?
Down.
And the side seats have access to the remote turrets.
Underneath the wings? Nothing on the top? Oh no, there's one, I think is that a gun?
When we look at the difference between the ES and the cargo, with the cargo we wanted to add a little bit more structure and believability into the exterior of the ship. This is supposed to carry a lot more weight, so we wanted to kind of bulk up the main structural points. So we've got some large additional bracing down the center. And then the other thing that a cargo version is going to require is some additional thrust. So we want to kind of bulk up the main thrusters at the rear that allow you to kind of take off. And those kind of downward pointing thrusters have grown in size and add to that believability that this vehicle can lift a bit more weight than the base version.
Fair. Oh, it's back again. I guess that's going to be the last time we see it.
Ship, it's quite a tight space.
Next
One of the things
I
that we kind of really realised early on with the vehicle is that we crammed a lot of stuff into the space that we had to play with. So the cockpit is quite tight. You've got a nice kind of 3-person cockpit up the front. And the seating arrangement echoes that kind of arrow shape that we see on the exterior of the ship. And that just helps to make the pilot have the important up front seat, but also just ties everything together a little bit, which is lovely.
It's a very RSI bridge.
As you go back through the ship,
I like how now with 324, I'm actually looking at where they've got weapon racks and storage, and it actually means something to me now. You know, I do like that about 324. I know everybody says it's the tedium patch, but I like that I actually have to look at a ship now and consider where the storage slots are, where the weapon racks are, where the toilet is. Because poop mechanics. The MR was 190, the ES and CL were 150. Thank you guys. Okay. Thank you. Oh man, armor lockers are a must, Corn. Yeah, I know. In the meantime, what I'm doing is just putting gear in a 1.8 SCU box.
Go into the airlock and the engineering area. This area changed quite a bit during the vehicle's development. We actually opened this space up a little bit. We took out one of the bulkheads. One of the things we realized as we kind of got into production was that there was maybe a few too many doors. This really was the ideal place to kind of remove one of those and open that area up a little bit. So we've got this engineering section that has the kind of main docking collar and also has the ladder exit. And so we've got our kind of 2 front exits on the vehicle. And then as we go back through the corridor section, we have like a bit of a crossroads. So you can either go into the kitchen area.
Thank you very much, Jizzy. Appreciate that, man.
Which still has its nice window and looks out and it's beautiful and perfect.
Oh, it's got
or
a
on the right,
kitchen.
we've got the habitation area where we've got 3 beds, toilet, a nice little seating area, lockers, and everything you need really in terms of a HUD.
They are really committed to the shitting mechanics, aren't they? We're getting them, aren't we? We're definitely getting pooping mechanics. They're still putting toilets in the newest ships. Oh, no. Saltini, good evening, Space Boo. Get out, get out, get out.
And then as we go into the back of the ship, that's really where we get to our larger ship components and our cargo area. With the cargo version, the Clipper, there's obviously a lot more space dedicated to cargo compared to the base version. To achieve that, what we've had to do is adjust some of the kind of like the rear layout of the ships.
We had to rearrange the components so that they're closer up to the doorway. And we had to move the weapon locker from the corridor into the actual cargo holds. So there was a lot of rearranging.
but
fine.
what that does buy us is enough space to fit the kind of extra cargo in.
Seeing a lot
We've
of
also
new
had to
devs.
sacrifice some of the
Devs I've
kitchen
never seen
area.
before.
In the habitation, you lose the sofa and the nice seating area, but on the positive, we get much more cargo space, which for kind of a dedicated cargo ship is the most important thing.
You'll notice that on the floor, there'll be blue trimming exactly where the player can place cargo. It'll be a lot easier for the player to know where you can access the components versus where you can place cargo on the sides.
Nice.
This has been a great first full ship from concept to release for the Montreal vehicle team.
This is one ship that took an entire year to build. Like the amount of work that goes into these ships is insane, both in art and design.
Took them a
They've built
year
on
to
kind of
make
what
the
they've learned
Zeus.
with the cutters and really just done a fantastic job in taking what was the original vision of the ship and really delivering it in something that I think it looks great, it should play great, and I think they just did a fantastic job across the board.
The
To
three
me,
variants,
the
yeah.
final product shows there's nothing in any other game that can come close to the level of detail, the amount of thought that got put into every button, every component bay, everything, is in its place.
So the Zeus is another great addition to the fleet of ships in Star Citizen, and being RSI, it obviously has that special touch, sharing the name with our company and founder. And we are excited to see this ship set foot in the verse and push along the RSI style ahead of a big year for RSI ships.
Ships don't set foot, John. They fly.
Got their feet.
Just being argumentative.
Big year of RSI ships. I guess he means the Polaris as well.
The MFDs and the...
Hey, look. Pretty cool looking ship. I do like the new RSI ships design language, though. I'm a big fan of it. I've always liked the Connie series. I do like the jagged, aggressive look of them. That's why the only other concept ship I care about, other than the Legionnaire, because it brings new gameplay, is the Perseus. It's got a totally new weapon. That's why I like the look of the Perseus, why I'm looking forward to that as well. But those are the only two ships I care about in concept.
The ship HUD and the PU, it's old.
And the actual UI itself is very small. One color, they're all in one color. Text is too small to read.
It's very samey, right? It has a bunch of stuff on it that you don't really use.
Not very new user-friendly.
Any user-friendly.
Yeah.
Can I remind you guys that this is the new UI? We actually have had multiple iterations of the UI, so you're telling on yourselves here. You're basically admitting that you fucked up on it. You made it shit. And we've had to play with it for the last God knows how long. Like, you didn't buy Star Citizen and turn up and make it better. Like, you've developed this game up to this point, guys. We've had multiple new ship UIs. In fact, this new UI doesn't even look like the one that they teased to us last year. I think. It's like the fourth UI, I think, Q-Pan. Yes. Hey, Brimstone, how's it going? Yeah, new MFDs, which do look good. Don't get me wrong.
Any user-friendly.
It was good for its time. It did the job. It got us where we are today.
But it's time for something new, and that's what we're going to talk about.
The reason why we're doing this now is because we had a lot of time during the development of Squadron to create an expandable and a more robust system for MFDs.
We have a bunch of super nice MFDs ready for Squadron, and now we're moving them over to Star Citizen.
It's also really good to bring it over now because we've got the new resource network system, so we need to have the MFDs here to support that new gameplay. Initial release, there'll be 5 visual styles to the MFDs.
Be respectful, DT, please.
It's very militaristic and it's very sleek. Anvil is great. I love the green color of Anvil. It feels a lot more like an F-16 cockpit. Drake is my favorite. It's retro and Blade Runner and...
What ship is that? Herald? Cutter? With the 2 different answers here. It doesn't look like any ship I know. It looks like a Herald more than anything to me, not a cutter. Like it's got little wings here. That's not. I honestly, it's been a long time since I've seen a Herald, so forgive me. Let me just go back a little bit here because they're going really quick through these MFDs. Certainly looks clear. Everything's bigger. You know, for the aging population of Star Citizen players. Everything's magnified, you know. It's a bit bigger. Everybody can see things a little bit clearly now. You know, we're all older now, so we need all the help we can get. we need all the help. It makes sense when you think about it. The master modes, slowing the game down, bigger buttons, bigger UI. They've got to appeal to the current requirements of the backers.
Anvil is great. I love the green.
Yeah. Minus 100, 100 plus, 100, 100 fields. Gimbal group fixed. Badges 0. Power management. That looks very Star Wars Squadrons. Almost Starfield.
Green color of Anvil, it feels a lot more like an F-16 cockpit. Drake is my favorite. It's retro and Blade Runner and CRTs.
Here's Argo.
It really feels like a piece of industrial equipment, which is what the brand is going for.
And there's the generic style that will support all the other ship manufacturers for the time being. For this release, the MFDs are getting 9 different views. Oh, how many is that even? Well, let's go through it.
We'll start with self-status. Self-status includes all of the critical information about your ship dependent on your current operator mode. So you'll have your ammo numbers in guns mode, you'll have your missile arming in missile mode, and your fuel readouts in quantum mode.
Wait, so the missiles...
Mode, fuel readouts, missile arming in missile...
So it doesn't come up? The missiles... Oh, it's... We got nothing on the HUD, nothing on your visor UI there for the missiles, or am I missing it? Okay, you got something up here for missile operator mode. I'm just thinking out loud. I haven't seen everything here, but I don't want to have to look down at the MFD when I'm loading and cycling missiles and locking missiles. I know they kind of want us using MFDs more, physicalize everything, essentially. Not physicalize everything, but make everything more tangible and real. But I wonder if they're also going to give us armed. Sorry, I've seen it now. Armed, ignites up there on the top left, lock fire. Okay, yeah. That's okay.
And your fuel readouts in quantum mode. There's also a unique version for turrets as well.
Oh, new one for turrets, thank God.
Taken away a lot of, faff from there. So this is simpler than before.
Weapons active.
It's more condensed and it links into the new systems that have been developed in terms of vehicle features. For example, it shows your updated gimbal modes. And it also shows your current weapon group, which is a new thing as well. Target status is the same thing, but it gives you the information about the target that you have currently selected.
It's mostly going to be, for a lot of players, the ship holo. You're going to want to see, am I dealing some damage or not? You will also have the emissions, so you know what missile to use against them. And you will see their names, so you know that you're not shooting the wrong person.
It's not as much information, because obviously, if you want to see how much ammo they've got, you've got to scan them. But it will show you their health, it will show you their faction, it will show you their velocity. Weapon config is entirely new. It links into the new weapon grouping system, so it will list out every single weapon on your ship. The ammo that you have, they'll light up if they're selected, and also it allows you to assign them to one of 4 custom groups, so you can have any combination of weapons that you want firing at the same time, and it makes it easy to see which group of weapons you're firing.
And if you just...
I'm not big on the weapon groups anyway. It's not a big thing for me. 2 weapon groups is more than enough usually, but more power to the people. They cannot leave ground vehicles with this old UI after this. Ground vehicles are the vehicles most in need of a rework. But then I look at things like the Storm, and I think that's beyond saving. I look at things like the Nova Tank, that's beyond saving. Like the placement of the MFDs and the HUD in those vehicles is pretty egregious. Everything about driving those vehicles is pain. I think they're beyond, like, they need more than a UI MFD rework. The Nova can be saved if they delete it and start from scratch. Very true.
Just don't assign one of those groups if you feel like, well, 4's too many. I just use 2 anyway. Well, you can just assign to 2 of them and you'll be fine.
Exactly.
This will be valuable so the player can, in combat, switch between different modes depending on kind of distance and what kind of weapons they want to use.
On a day-to-day, you might be tracking down a particular target. It is a subject of a mission, and you know that a certain weapon is going to be more effective against them than another, or a certain weapon combination is going to be more effective. You can stick them all in one group and have quick access to that. Shields is pretty much the same as what it was. You can control each of your shield faces.
Oh, that's nice.
4 shield faces. If you have 1, you can control the whole thing.
Hey, that's quite nice. Having a little bit more tangible control over the shield facings. Looks quite easy to just get in there and do it.
And it gives you a reset button, so you can set it all back to default, and also you can see your total shield usage out of the maximum.
For the time being, this is going to be the same thing that you're already used to.
And along with that are scanning and communications. Scanning's been moved from the HUD to an MFD state. For new screens, the biggest one is power management.
Engines on.
Wait, hold on. Scanning's been moved from the HUD to an MFD?
Moved from the HUD to an MFD state.
Okay, so all the information is down here. I think I might be in the way here. And yes, that is a Polaris. Look at that big old fat booty sitting there in the middle of space, waiting for somebody to come spank it. So scanning it, and then down in the bottom right. So what? You're scanning, and then down in the bottom right, you get this MFD with all the information, and then what? You cycle through the tabs? Info, parts, cargo. Oh, dude, if they give that to co-pilot functionality in multi-crew ships, that would be so nice. The co-pilot would actually have something somewhat cool and interesting to do. Yeah. Immersion, yeah, they'll have it. I wonder if they mention that, I don't know, but I hope so, and I hope it has functionality, actual functionality, multi-crew functionality. Your co-pilot does the scanning. They look at they have the MFD in front of them, because I don't want to be doing this while I'm flying, obviously. This is something you'd have to stop and do if you were flying or chasing a target or something. Or you'd need a dedicated ship to do the scanning for you if you're in the middle of like a combat situation, or if you're a pirate and you're trying to do a hit, and you don't want to have to stop shooting and like look away and use your MFD. You need to kind of like have someone else to do that for you. But yeah, in multi-crew ships, if they can give this full scanning functionality to the crew member, it'd be so cool, because you can just be like, Aristan, what are you reading? What do they got? What's their cargo? What's their weapons? What's the lowdown? How many crew? And then they can do that for you and relay it back to you like standard sci-fi 101 stuff. Yeah, it looks good. I'm glad that they've done that. I like this sort of stuff, giving you the ability to just sort of interact with it versus hovering there with your crosshair over the ship, holding a button, waiting for everything to populate. Blip, 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 blip. I don't know how quick he does this.
Moved from the HUD to an MFD state.
Okay, the scan progress is already at 100%.
For new screens, the biggest one is power management.
Engines on.
It's a simplified version of what you'll find on an engineering terminal, but it's for sort of daily use for the pilot.
It's using the full power of the resource network system, and it gives it to you right there in the pilot seat, so you can do the full assignments as you like them if you're flying solo.
Again,
this is also where you will
something
see your
that needs to be on the multi-crew
so if you're doing anything
functionality.
Stealthy, you go into power management, you set your settings to low, and you will see your emissions adjust accordingly.
Wow.
You can turn on and off different systems in the ship. You can apply different levels of power to each system. You can see your total output, how much you're using, and you can also see different status readouts for those systems. So if something is run out of power or it's offline, it'll also represent that on the power management MFD.
Engines off.
God,
Along
this
with
is
that
so much
is
better,
the
isn't it?
diagnostics view.
The diagnostics view is where you go to check in on your ship. If something's not feeling right, well, maybe check diagnostics.
It will show you the wear that component is taken as well.
How often is the diagnostics going to work? It's like that scene in Star Wars. You check the diagnostics and Han Solo's like, everything's fine, everything's normal. And then you go out and walk into the back of the ship and there's a fucking blazing fire. How often is that going to be a reliable source of information? I freaking hope it is. I hope it's consistently reliable. I hope it doesn't become one of those things that we just use once and then realize it's completely out of tune with the rest of the ship and never use it again. Overall, though, looking excellent. I mean, if this really is hooked up to everything systemically, and you're getting all these readings actually systemically from your ship, and it's actually useful, and they can port this over to the co-pilot functionality in multi-crew ships, really good. I mean, didn't expect to see this much already, but... Well, maybe I did, but kind of put it out of my mind. It's pretty cool.
Well as its current health and its status,
GT,
whether it has any errors, and there'll be a summary at the top of the screen that shows you how many of your components have errors.
Spot the ship armor? Wait, what? This? Shields. Oh, Argo MPUV ship armor. Yeah. Interesting.
Summary at the top of the screen that shows you how many of your components have errors. And last, what I'm really excited about is the configuration screen. It takes a lot of the settings that were hidden away in the options menu or just in the back end and puts them right there for you to toggle in-world on your MFD screen instantly.
Perfect.
The configuration view is great. You can now turn off unwanted UI if you really wish to. You can turn off the cast, which is my favorite part. If you have screens on the top left and top right of your screen, then you can turn off those casts now to clear the UI a little bit.
So this configuration screen allows you to configure a few aspects of some different MFD states, as well as what goes on your HUD and how that looks.
Please, God, tell me that's persistent.
We can finally control what goes on our HUD. Yeah. So let's talk about the HUD. Using the configuration screen, you can choose whether or not you're showing your MFD casts, which are simplified and more tactile versions.
Crazy that this looks like the 2.4 2.1 HUD now. Almost 2.x HUD. Yeah, it's crazy. This looks like, guys, if you weren't here for 2.x, let this old timer tell you, we had a HUD like this before. It's back. We've gone full bloody circle on everything.
Of the self-status and target status screen.
Functionality-wise, it's stuff you know already. You have your velocity, you have your afterburner, you have your annunciators, and you have different indicators.
They show critical information when you can't look at your dashboard in front of you. So if you're
really nice, you get that instant. Look how much better it is. You can see their signature. So much better. Instant, just look up, see it. Know when your missiles are going to be more effective. See that they're powering up their quantum drive, etc. Nav mode, whatever, spooling. Much easier to see.
If you're in a fighter and you're looking up in the sky, you can still see that, as well as allowing you to still see that information when you're in precision targeting mode.
We've decided to clear up all of the nonsense we have in the middle and kind of make it out of the way of the middle of the screen. So
what took so long, Joe?
I'm sorry, it wasn't me. Oh God.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't me. It was the last generation of devs.
We've also done a little bit of work making the radar and the HUD feel more diegetic and making it look like it actually exists in the cockpit with grounding effects and emission rate origin points as well.
It all just feels so much better. It feels real. So with this new ship and vehicle HUD, it's just going to be a clearer experience overall. It's going to be clearer in the sense that you don't have stuff in your face all the time. It's going to be clearer in the sense that you can actually read the UI. So I think you'll be very happy with it. It's going to be such a nice thing to just be out in space and be able to see space, right?
I like this guy.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the Zeus is the first ship made by the newly established Montreal vehicle team. That the MFD rework is an exciting and easily usable and customizable upgrade to what we've had before. And that it plugs nicely into the upcoming resource network and engineering work scheduled for Alpha 4.0, which will, of course, we'll be showcasing next week. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
Yeah, it is a good song. Which is exactly how the song went. MFDs were the highlight for me, not so much the Zeus. Zeus looks kind of cool, but I don't really have much interest in ships that don't change the game in any way, and the Zeus does not. But the MFDs do, and they do look good. Good IC, thank you. Thank you for watching with me, everybody. Appreciate you.